Next up, we've got Ed Maslaveckas, and I always say your name wrong,
yeah,
Ed.
Yeah. Like we've not known each other.
I know. And given we talk so often, I should be getting that right by now. But and Ed is the CEO of Bud, who are a super interesting company. I can't believe it's a year ago we were just hanging out in Copenhagen.
Yeah, what were we doing a year ago?
It's quite terrifying.
Yeah.
And you guys have been killing it. You've had a really pretty impressive year.
It's been a crazy year. It's been not much sleep, but it's been really interesting actually, because I think we've been jumping up and down for 3 years talking about some of this stuff. What does marketplace actually mean? Thinking about it, and now we're kind of getting the reception. Yeah. So people are saying, "Oh yeah, no, I understand what this is," and there's real demand out there from the partners we're working with, and customers are starting to use the early versions of the products that we've been talking about, and we've found success not only from the partners we work with, the banks. But actually, the customer reception's been pretty great.
Yeah, but over the last year, obviously, open banking has happened in the UK, and PSD2 is kind of upon us now. You've definitely seen that change in the landscape, right?
Yeah, open banking is now officially a thing. I heard some people said, which I officially thought it was a thing for a long time, but it's now officially a thing. So now I officially have a job, which is good.
Brilliant.
Again, the thing about open banking is that the story's not told. It's still actually very early. The solutions that will kind of bring open banking to life for customers, they haven't been sort of put out there yet. They certainly, I don't think, have all been imagined yet. So again, it is early, but it's actually really exciting now that we're starting to see, okay, well, we've got something in market with a large institution, and the vision of that institution is very aligned to our vision, and we're seeing quite a few other companies kind of sort of think in a similar way. So yeah,
it's amazing how many these types of things are being kind of led by regulation now. We've seen obviously GDPR have quite a major impact in terms of how we treat customers fairly in the industry, and open banking obviously pushing really hard to allow very different things to come through. I think last week we saw the FCA come out and actually start pushing for more and more PFM capability into the market.
Yeah, around the credit issue.
So it's amazing, isn't it? Markets are being made by regulation now.
It's really interesting. So we just soft plug. We're launching, and we've launched the first 2 chapters, a book on open banking, and the whole thing around the book on open banking is it's really trying to contextualize what that means, and sort of the preface to that was actually an international look at open banking. So obviously we've got sort of open banking in Europe, UK, obviously leading the way on that. But actually, if we look at other regions, we look at China. Open banking happened a long time ago there, in a different way. It was privately led. Same thing happening in the States. Actually, open banking is being led by FinTechs opening up APIs. So now what we're really seeing is this conversation change from, okay, what are we doing in the UK, to what's our global open banking strategy? And what you can imagine in different regions and the different use cases becomes quite interesting. They can feed off each other. So again, that's I think accelerated just simply the UK conversations, because obviously it's a financial hub for around the world essentially.
Yeah, and I guess given open banking being a UK thing, you guys are being some of those poster boys for real sort of open banking implementation.
Well, especially I'm living the dream. I've always wanted to be a poster boy, a pin-up.
Well, yeah, from the old days of the Look-In magazine, I'm sure you were very excited about that one. But I hear you guys have got some interesting news today as well. Yeah. What's occurring?
So actually, it'll be announced tomorrow, but it will in the internet world. It will happen today.
Nice. That's an exclusive then?
Yeah,
right?
That's an exclusive.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
We're launching a product we're calling Bud Exchange.
Okay.
And that again, so is the culmination of actually a lot of work and 3 years of thinking around what does open banking plus marketplace banking mean. And those are kind of 2 concepts that people sort of seem to grasp and understand. I think, we had something we called marketplace, and I think that's actually quite limiting when you start thinking what is a marketplace. We've seen marketplace banking happen in a couple of guises so far. When you think about marketplace, you just think of these static stall products, or at the best they're clustered into groups. But actually, what open banking plus marketplace means is actually there's a suite of APIs that are products and services that help customers do things in their life. So what we've been really working on and thinking about a lot is how can we organize like 400, 500 different APIs and bring them together seamlessly to create that job, to get that job done for a customer sort of instantly. And that requires like a lot of work, requires identifying, okay, what does the product need, what's the customer need, how do we nudge them and let them know, all the little technical bits. So these are all microservices that are built on top of APIs. So that entire suite of individual APIs, microservice APIs that organize these products into actual services. That's what Bud Exchange is. So it's a portal where we can give developers of a bank, a financial institution, the ability to log in and start consuming those APIs and building these services. So it's a little bit beyond just the story of open banking, because open banking in itself is good, but it doesn't get the full picture. So that's really what we've been working on. So we're announcing that tomorrow, exclusive first conversation about it.
Thank you very
much. So probably a bit rusty.
And when will that actually be going out then? Are you planning on pushing this out like any time soon?
So we're working.
Because that sounds dramatically different to how people are kind of talking about marketplaces. So this really sort of puts the financial services bit in the background, but facilitates financial services wherever you are. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, what we really care about as a doing at Bud is about that kind of end-to-end fulfillment for a customer.
Yep.
So it is that right the way to being able to recommend an actual product to a customer, right the way then facilitating using multiple services in an experience. So that we are hoping it will be sort of live to the sort of next set of customers in about 6 months. We currently have a group of fintechs and financial institutions, so not just fintechs, that we've partnered with to build this, because actually we didn't want to just build this in an isolated way. So we have this council of companies we're building it with that are ready to consume the APIs, and really to figure out, okay, what are the use cases they're thinking about, how would that integrate into their experience stack. But when it hits market, it will be sort of road tested and used. But again, we're still engaging early conversations of bringing more sort of financial companies into that early council to how we build this thing.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to talking to you again in a year's time and figuring out where we are. That's an exclusive and the first one, I think, of what we're doing. So look forward to seeing what you guys think of it. Thanks very much for joining us, Ed.
Cheers, David.